First contact in crisis. The luminary observatory hung in the void like a crystal snowflake, its delicate spires reflecting the light of distant stars. Senior observer Vila adjusted her luminescent appendages, casting a soft blue glow across the holographic displays before her. The observatory had served as humanity's first point of contact with her species, the Celestians, just 3 years ago. Now it would become the site of their last stand. Multiple quantum signatures detected, announced the automated system. Ravager fleet approaching through subspace. Vila's bioluminescence flickered with anxiety. The Ravagers, a species that lived up to their name, had been systematically destroying civilizations across this arm of the galaxy. The Celestians' peaceful nature and advanced scientific knowledge had made them particularly attractive targets. "Begin emergency protocols," she ordered, her translator converting her light patterns into standard galactic basic. "Notify all research stations and civilian outposts." The observatory's quantum communications array hummed to life, broadcasting warning signals across Celestian space. But Vila knew it was too late. Their defensive fleet was scattered across multiple research missions, and their weapons technology was primarily designed for stellar observation and asteroid deflection. The first Ravager ships emerged from subspace like obsidian arrows, their hulls absorbing nearly all light. Vila had studied their attack patterns. They would first target communication arrays, then defensive systems, before beginning their methodical harvest of technology and resources. The Celestians' nonviolent philosophy had served them well in scientific pursuits, but it left them helpless against such aggression. Unknown quantum signature detected. The system suddenly announced. Non-Ravager origin. Vila's attention shifted to a new reading. The energy pattern was like nothing she'd ever seen, chaotic yet controlled, as if someone had weaponized uncertainty itself. A massive tear in space-time erupted between the observatory and the approaching Ravager fleet. From this impossible breach emerged a ship that defied Celestian architectural principles. Where their vessels were elegant and symmetrical, this craft was angular and pragmatic. Its hull bore evidence of repairs and modifications, telling the story of a species that adapted rather than rebuilt. Vila's scientific curiosity momentarily overcame her fear as she analyzed its construction. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the U.S. Prometheus, a transmission cut through all frequencies. We received your distress signal through the quantum network. Sorry we're late. Experimental gate drive took some convincing to work properly." Vila's translator took a moment to process the casual nature of the communication. "I am Senior Observer Vila. While we appreciate your concern, I must warn you that the Ravager fleet is about to have a very bad day." Captain Chen interrupted. "Prometheus actual to all hands. Battle stations. Let's show them why you don't mess with humanity's friends." The Prometheus's response to the Ravager's standard attack pattern demonstrated humanity's radical approach to space combat. Instead of maintaining distance as most species did, the human ship charged forward, its modified shields absorbing the initial barrage. Point defense systems that seemed cobbled together from mining lasers and mass drivers created an interlocking field of fire that picked apart incoming missiles. Fascinating. Vila found herself documenting the battle even as it unfolded. They've somehow modified civilian technology for military applications. The Prometheus launched what appeared to be mining drones, but instead of harvesting resources, they attached themselves to Ravager ships and began cutting through their hulls. Each drone's approach was unpredictable, using debris and electromagnetic interference as cover. "A lot of these systems started as peaceful technology," Captain Chen explained, somehow maintaining a casual conversation during combat. "Turns out the tools you use to crack open asteroids work pretty well on warships too. We just had to get creative." The Ravager fleet's rigid combat doctrine fell apart against the human ship's unconventional tactics. Their attempts to maintain formation left them vulnerable to the Prometheus's hit-and-run attacks. When they tried to adapt, they found themselves caught in carefully planned crossfires. Requesting permission to dock, Captain Chen transmitted as the last Ravager ship retreated into subspace. We've got some ideas about upgrading your defensive capabilities, and our engineers are dying to look at your quantum tech." Vila's bioluminescence brightened with hope. "Permission granted, Captain. I believe this is the beginning of a most interesting collaboration." As she watched the human ship approach, Vila realized that the galaxy's understanding of humanity had been limited. They weren't just the young species that had recently achieved faster-than-light travel. They were innovators who turned scientific tools into weapons when needed, yet chose to use their creativity to protect rather than conquer. Perhaps, she thought, this was exactly the kind of ally the Celestians needed. The human element. The U.S. Prometheus's docking procedure was anything but elegant. Unlike the graceful magnetic alignments used by Celestian vessels, the human ship maneuvered with quick, precise bursts from maneuvering thrusters. Chief Engineer Marcus Rodriguez supervised the connection from the airlock, his dark eyes twinkling with excitement as he studied the crystalline architecture of the observatory. "It's like a cathedral made of light," he murmured, making notes on his neural interface. "And you're telling me the whole structure is self-repairing?" Vila's translator struggled to keep up with his rapid-fire questions. The human enthusiasm for learning was both exhausting and infectious. "The crystal matrices respond to quantum harmonics," she explained. "They naturally align to maintain structural integrity." "Could we use that principle for adaptive armor?" Lieutenant Sarah Wong interjected, already thinking of defensive applications. The tactical officer's pragmatic approach perfectly complemented Rodriguez's theoretical curiosity. Captain Chen emerged from the airlock, her short frame belying her commanding presence. "Let's focus on the immediate situation first. The Ravagers will be back, and in greater numbers. They've never had a prey species fight back effectively before." The following hours demonstrated why humanity had advanced so quickly after achieving spaceflight. Rather than being overwhelmed by the Celestians' advanced technology, the human crew approached it with a combination of reverence and irreverence. They respected its capabilities while constantly looking for ways to improve or repurpose it. "Your quantum communication network is incredible," Rodriguez said while examining a control node. "But why is it only used for data transmission? With some modifications, we could use it to detect Ravager ships before they emerge from subspace." Vila's bioluminescence flickered with surprise. "The quantum harmonics are too delicate for such applications. Any attempt to probe subspace would disrupt the network." "Not if we use your crystal technology as a buffer," Wong suggested. "We've been experimenting with similar principles in our gate drive. It's not elegant, but it works." The humans' approach to technology mirrored their ship: functional, adaptable, and surprisingly robust. Where Celestian engineering sought perfection, human engineering embraced imperfection and found strength in redundancy and quick repairs. As they worked, Vila learned more about Earth and its history. Humans had faced extinction-level events multiple times, yet each crisis had driven innovation. They spoke of world wars that led to space exploration, of climate disasters that spawned environmental restoration technology, of pandemics that revolutionized medicine. "We're not fearless," Captain Chen explained during a brief rest period. "We're terrified most of the time. We just got good at using that fear to fuel innovation rather than paralysis." The retrofit of the observatory proceeded at a pace that would have seemed reckless to Celestian sensibilities. Observation arrays were modified into early warning systems. Stellar mapping tools became tactical displays. Even the crystalline structure itself was enhanced, its self-repairing nature now extending to combat damage. "Multiple quantum signatures detected," the system announced, just as Rodriguez was finalizing the last modifications. "Ravager fleet approaching. Numbers estimated at 3 times previous encounter." Captain Chen's lips curved into what Vila had learned was called a smile, though it held little warmth. "Perfect timing. Let's show them what happens when you combine human ingenuity with Celestian technology." The Ravager fleet emerged from subspace into a trap. The modified quantum network detected their arrival vectors perfectly, allowing the Prometheus to target their exit points. The observatory's crystals pulsed with new energy patterns, creating interference that disrupted the Ravagers' targeting systems. "They're adapting to the quantum interference," Wong reported from her tactical station. "But not fast enough." The Prometheus moved with even more confidence now, its systems enhanced by Celestian precision. Mining drones, now upgraded with crystalline cutting beams, swarmed through space with devastating effect. The Ravager ships found their formation-based tactics useless against an enemy that seemed to know their movements before they made them. "Fascinating," Vila noted as she watched the battle unfold. "You've transformed a scientific outpost into a fortress without sacrificing its original purpose." "That's the thing about humans," Rodriguez said, monitoring the crystal matrix's power output. "We never want to destroy knowledge. We just want to protect it." As the last Ravager ships fled once again, Vila realized that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their combat prowess. It was their ability to take the best aspects of any situation or culture and synthesize them into something new. They were living proof that adaptation was not just about survival, but about turning challenges into opportunities for growth. The galaxy would never be the same after this day. The Celestians had gained more than just defenders. They had found partners who could help them evolve beyond their self-imposed limitations. And humanity had gained access to technology that would revolutionize their own civilization, all because they had chosen to answer a distress call from strangers among the stars. Breaking convention. News of the Prometheus's victory spread through Celestian space like a quantum wave, impossible to contain or ignore. The Ravagers' apparent invincibility had been shattered, but Captain Chen knew better than to celebrate too early. In the observatory's newly configured command center, she studied tactical projections with a grim expression. "They're changing their patterns," she announced to the assembled human Celestian command staff. "The Ravagers are abandoning their standard attack formations. They're learning." Vila's crystalline display showed the movements of Ravager scout ships at the edges of their detection range. "Their ships are dividing into smaller groups, probing our defenses. This behavior is unprecedented." "They're adapting," Lieutenant Wong observed, "just like we would. We forced them to evolve." The implications sent ripples of concern through the Celestian staff, their bioluminescence shifting to darker hues. Evolution meant unpredictability, and unpredictability meant their carefully calculated defense plans might prove useless. Rodriguez, who had been unusually quiet, suddenly straightened. "Then we'll have to evolve faster." "Vila, you said the crystal matrices respond to quantum harmonics, right? What if we stop trying to predict their movements and instead learn to react instantly?" The next few days saw the observatory transform yet again. Under Rodriguez's guidance, human and Celestian engineers worked to create what he called a quantum reflex system. The crystal matrices were reconfigured to respond not just to structural damage, but to the very fabric of space-time around them. "Think of it like a nervous system," he explained to a fascinated group of Celestian scientists. "When you touch something hot, you don't wait for your brain to process the information. Your body reacts instantly. We're giving the observatory the same capability." The Ravagers tested their new strategies sooner than expected. Instead of their previous direct assaults, they emerged from subspace at multiple points, their ships moving in seemingly random patterns that defied conventional tactical analysis. But the observatory was ready. As Ravager weapons fire approached, the crystalline structure pulsed with new energy. Points of impact were reinforced microseconds before missiles struck. Counterfire emerged from reconfigured arrays that tracked targets through quantum entanglement rather than traditional sensors. "They're trying to overwhelm our prediction algorithms," Wong reported from her station, now integrated with both human and Celestian technology. "But we're not predicting anymore. We're reacting." The Prometheus itself had evolved, its hull now incorporating crystalline elements that made it appear to shimmer in space. The ship moved with impossible precision, each maneuver guided by quantum speed reactions that seemed to border on precognition. Multiple subspace ruptures detecting, the integrated defense system announced. Ravager capital ship emerging. The vessel that appeared dwarfed anything they'd encountered before. Its surface was a maze of weapon emplacements and launch bays, a clear statement that the Ravagers were done underestimating their prey. "They've committed their command ship," Vila observed, her scientific curiosity temporarily overriding her concern. "This is unprecedented. The Ravagers never risked their leadership." Chen's smile was fierce. "Because they've never needed to before. Rodriguez, is the new system ready?" "Ready as it'll ever be, Captain. Though I should mention this is completely theoretical and might tear a hole in space-time." "Noted. Vila, I need your people's permission for what we're about to do. We're going to use your quantum network in a way it was definitely not designed for." The Celestian observer studied the human captain's expression, seeing the same combination of fear and determination she'd noted before. "The network is yours, Captain. We trust you." Chen nodded to Rodriguez. "Initialize the quantum cascade." The observatory's entire crystal structure began to resonate at frequencies that made Vila's sensors scream in protest. The quantum communication network, which spanned all of Celestian space, pulsed with new energy. Each node, each relay station, each crystalline array became part of something larger. The Ravager capital ship fired its main weapon, a beam of concentrated plasma that could shear a planet's crust. But at the point of impact, space itself seemed to fold. The energy disappeared into a quantum sink created by the synchronized crystal network, only to emerge from dozens of other points in space, surrounding the massive vessel in a cage of its own power. By the first light, Vila whispered, watching as the Ravager's greatest weapon was turned against them. "You've weaponized the very structure of spacetime." "Not weaponized," Rodriguez corrected, his fingers dancing across control surfaces as he maintained the quantum cascade. "We've just helped it defend itself. The universe doesn't like paradoxes or violations of its laws. We're just giving it the tools to enforce them." The Ravager capital ship, for the first time in recorded history, retreated. Its escort fleet, caught in the quantum distortions, found their sophisticated weapons turning against them, their tactical advantages becoming vulnerabilities. As the last ships disappeared into subspace, Chen turned to Vila. "They'll be back again, and they'll have new tricks. But now they know that the price of attacking your people is higher than they can afford to pay." Vila's bioluminescence brightened with understanding. Humanity hadn't just brought weapons or tactics to defend the Celestians. They had brought a new way of thinking, a perspective that transformed weakness into strength, that found power in cooperation rather than dominance. "The galaxy will never be the same," she said. "That's the idea," Chen replied. "Change is the only constant. Might as well make it change for the better." Unity through adversity. In the weeks following the quantum cascade defense, the Luminary Observatory became something unprecedented in galactic history, a true fusion of human and Celestian civilization. The crystal spires now housed a mix of meditation chambers and engineering labs, where representatives from both species worked to understand not just technology, but each other. Dr. Maya Patel, the Prometheus's xenobiologist, had become particularly fascinated by Celestian bioluminescence. "It's not just communication," she explained during one of the daily briefings. "Their light patterns actually resonate with the crystal matrices at a quantum level. They're not just using the technology, they're part of it." Captain Chen watched as Rodriguez and a team of Celestian engineers tested this theory, modifying neural interfaces to respond to bioluminescent patterns. "How long until the Ravagers return?" she asked Vila, who had taken to wearing a modified human uniform that complemented her natural glow. "Based on their previous behavior patterns and our new quantum detection range, we estimate 2 standard weeks," Vila replied. "They're gathering forces from across their territory. This will be their largest assault yet." "Good," Chen said, surprising her alien counterpart. "That means they're desperate. They're committing everything because they know they can't afford to lose here. And desperate enemies make mistakes. The integration of human and Celestian capabilities had progressed far beyond simple technology sharing. Human crew members learned to read bioluminescent emotional cues, while Celestians adopted human-style tactical thinking. The observatory's crystal matrices now responded to both thought patterns, creating a hybrid command system unlike anything either species had conceived alone. The real question, Wang said during a tactical review, is what they've learned from us. The Ravagers have shown they can adapt. We have to assume they've analyzed every trick we've used. Rodriguez's solution was characteristically human and thoroughly unorthodox. Then let's give them something completely new to analyze. Vila, you mentioned that your people once experimented with quantum teleportation. A failed project, Vila confirmed. The energy requirements were prohibitive, and living matter couldn't survive the transition. But what about non-living matter? Say, a few thousand self-replicating mining drones enhanced with her crystal tech. The preparation that followed would have seemed chaotic to outside observers. Human improvisation merged with Celestian precision as they modified the observatory's systems for their most ambitious project yet. The quantum communication network was reproposed once again, this time as a delivery system for what Rodriguez called the biggest surprise party in galactic history. They worked through rest cycles, driven by the knowledge that their window of opportunity was closing. Human coffee consumption reached record levels, while Celestian meditation chambers worked overtime to help maintain focus through the long hours. Multiple quantum ruptures detected. The announcement finally came. Ravager fleet approaching. Numbers exceed all previous encounters by order of magnitude. Chen stood at the command center, now a seamless blend of human and Celestian interfaces. How many ships? Over 3,000 vessels detected, Wang reported, including 5 capital ships. They're not just trying to defeat us, Vila observed, her glow pulsing with determination. They mean to ensure nothing remains to tell the tale of their defeat. Then let's give them a story they'll never forget, Chen replied. All stations, implement Operation Firefly. The name was Rodriguez's idea, inspired by the way Celestian bioluminescence reminded him of Earth's natural light producers. As the Ravager fleet approached, the observatory appeared to power down, its crystal structure darkening to near invisibility. They're moving to surround us, Wang reported, taking up spherical formation. Perfect, Chen smiled. They still think in 3 dimensions. Rodriguez, quantum network primed. Drone swarms ready for teleport. The Ravager fleet opened fire simultaneously, thousands of energy weapons converging on the seemingly defenseless observatory. But at the exact moment of impact, the crystal structure pulsed with blinding light. The quantum network activated, creating not just 1 or 2 teleportation points, but hundreds. Modified mining drones emerged everywhere at once, their crystalline components allowing them to materialize inside Ravager ships. Each drone carried a quantum entanglement core, linking it directly to the observatory's control systems. Drone swarms operating at 98% efficiency, Rodriguez reported with evident satisfaction. Crystal replication processes initiated. The Ravagers found their own ships turning against them as the drones began to transform their internal structures. Crystal growths spread through corridors and control systems, responding to the combined guidance of human tactical algorithms and Celestian quantum harmonics. Enemy fleet coordination dropping, Wang announced. Their command and control systems are being crystallized faster than they can adapt. Send them an offer, Chen ordered. One time only. Vila transmitted the message herself, her bioluminescence adding layers of meaning that the Ravager's translators would struggle to process. Your way of war is obsolete. Surrender, and we will show you a better path. The response came not in words, but in actions. The Ravager capital ships, their internal systems compromised but their main weapons still functional, began powering up for a final suicidal attack. They choose destruction over change, Vila said sadly. No, Chen corrected her. They choose to give us one last lesson in why we fight. Rodriguez, Implement final phase. The quantum network pulsed one last time, but instead of attacking, the crystal structures throughout the Ravager fleet began resonating in harmony. The same properties that allowed them to tear holes in space-time now worked to contain and redirect energy. As the capital ships fired, their enormous power was caught in a quantum loop, feeding back into their own systems in an endless cascade. One by one, they went dark, their crews preserved but their weapons and engines completely crystallized. Enemy fleet neutralized, Wang reported, her voice filled with wonder. No casualties on either side. That, Chen said to Vila, is why we came out here. Not to destroy, but to protect. Not to conquer, but to connect. And sometimes, the best way to win a war is to make it impossible to fight. The observatory gleamed in the starlight, its crystal structure now permanently altered by the integration of human innovation and Celestian wisdom. It stood as a testament to what could be achieved when different species chose to face challenges together, each contributing their unique strengths to create something greater than either could achieve alone. Legacy of Hope. 3 months after the Battle of Luminary Observatory, the crystalline structure had evolved beyond its original design. New spires reached into space, each one a testament to the unprecedented collaboration between humans and Celestians. But today, the observatory served a different purpose. As a forum for change, Captain Chen stood before a gathering of representatives from 20 different species, her dress uniform modified with crystalline elements that caught the light. Beside her, Vila's bioluminescence pulsed with calm confidence as they prepared to address the assembly. The Ravager threat is over, Chen began, but not in the way anyone expected. Their fleet wasn't destroyed, it was transformed. Just as we hoped to transform this region of space. Holographic displays showed the former Ravager ships, now repurposed as deep space research vessels. Their weapons had been converted into scientific instruments, their military crews retrained as explorers and researchers. The quantum crystal technology that had disabled them now powered their new missions of discovery. We faced extinction. Vila addressed the gathered species. But humanity showed us a different path. Not through superior firepower or advanced technology, but through the willingness to question assumptions and find strength in diversity. Rodriguez, now sporting a few crystalline implants that enhanced his neural interface, activated a new display. It showed the modified quantum network, now spanning twice its original range. The network no longer just communicates, he explained. It connects. Ideas, cultures, possibilities, all flowing freely between worlds. Lieutenant Wang, recently promoted to commander, outlined the security implications. We're not creating a military alliance, she emphasized. We're establishing something more fundamental. An exchange of perspectives. Each species brings unique insights. Together, we see solutions that would be impossible alone. The evidence was compelling. Since the integration of human and Celestian technology, scientific advancement had accelerated exponentially. The crystal matrices, enhanced by human creativity and experimentation, had applications far beyond defense. They were already being used to terraform hostile planets, clean polluted atmospheres, and explore phenomena that had previously been deemed impossible to study. But the greatest transformation, Dr. Patel noted, has been cultural. She displayed metrics showing unprecedented levels of cooperation between traditionally isolated species. We're learning that strength doesn't come from technological superiority or military might. It comes from our ability to grow together. From the audience, a former Ravager commander rose to speak. The crystalline modifications to his neural system glinted as he addressed the assembly. We thought we were superior because we could take what we wanted. The humans and Celestians showed us we were limiting ourselves. Why steal technology when you can participate in its evolution? Why dominate when you can collaborate? The implications of this new paradigm were spreading across the galaxy. Species that had hidden their achievements for fear of attracting attention now shared their discoveries freely, protected by the growing network of cooperation. The quantum crystal technology, once purely celestial, had become a framework for galactic unity. Humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy wasn't our technology or our tactics, Chen concluded. It was our perspective. We brought our history of overcoming differences, of turning competitors into allies, of finding strength in diversity. We showed that the best defense isn't a weapon, it's a community. As if to emphasize her point, the observatory's crystal structure pulsed with combined light. Human quantum interfaces resonated with celestial bioluminescence, creating patterns that spoke of possibility and hope. The very architecture had become a symbol of what could be achieved when different species chose to work together. The galaxy is entering a new age, Vila announced, her glow synchronizing with the observatory's pulse. Not an age of empires or warfare, but an age of connection. We face challenges too great for any single species to overcome alone. But together, we can achieve what once seemed impossible. The U.S. Prometheus, now more crystal than metal, stood watch over the proceedings. Its hybrid systems and diverse crew represented everything they hoped to achieve on a galactic scale. It was no longer just a warship. It had become a bridge between cultures, a platform for innovation, and a symbol of protective strength rather than aggressive power. We came to the stars wondering if we were alone, Chen said, concluding the assembly. We found not just life, but the opportunity to become part of something greater than ourselves. The question is no longer whether humanity belongs among the stars. The question is what we can achieve now that we're here, together. As the gathered representatives filed out to begin implementing the new accords, Chen and Vila stood at their favorite observation point. The crystal walls shifted to reveal the vast expanse of space, filled with possibilities. Do you think we've changed the galaxy too much? Vila asked, her glow reflecting genuine curiosity. Chen smiled, watching distant ships moving through quantum gates that once seemed impossible. Change was always coming, she replied. We just helped make it change for the better. After all, isn't that what humanity does best? We take what is, imagine what could be, and then work like hell to make it happen. The observatory's crystals pulsed in agreement, their light reaching out to touch the stars, not as a sign of dominance, but as an invitation to explore, to learn, and to grow. In the end, humanity's greatest contribution to the galaxy wasn't their ability to fight or their technological innovations. It was their unshakable belief that tomorrow could be better than today, if only they were brave enough to imagine it and determined enough to make it real. The end.